This is Melee's character roster. It has 26 characters and has remained completely unchanged for the 20 plus years that this game has been out. That means no updates, no balance patches, no DLC. For years, many people believed that if you wanted to be truly competitive in this game, these were the only characters you could use. And that kinda tracks with the early years of competitive Melee. Characters like Fox, Falco, Sheik, and Marth were all characters that we all now know as staples in the competitive scene. Anyway, it wouldn't be that unreasonable to think that these good characters just continued to be good and rode off into the sunset. And you'd be right most of the time. There's already been a pretty exhaustive set of Smashboards posts and otherwise out there talking about the competitive history of our game or what makes these characters so good, or even BuzzFeed-like quizzes on if this character really is your main. Okay, anyway, but sometimes in very, and I mean very rare situations, these characters written off as bad can find their moment in the spotlight. What the hell is that?
Yeah.
Oh,
no!
You gotta go out there.
Oh my God! June really goes for that?
Okay, you know what? I'm done. I'm done! I've made 3 20-minute long Donkey Kong videos on this channel already in the last like 3 months, and I am just tired, man. I'm tired, and I'm addicted to Kong posting, and I just want this to stop, okay? God, let's do this. Thank you to my good friends at Into the AM for sponsoring today's video. Into the AM is a team of artists and creators that's been outfitting your passion since 2012. They've been releasing a ton of new collections over the past few months, and the fall collection is looking really sweet as the weather starts to cool off a bit. It's so much more than graphic tees. Pushing a work hard, wear easy slogan, the fall collection has a bunch of comfortable and trendy style pieces like the Daybreak Performance joggers for the fall weather and the Tradesman Trucker jacket for a night on the town. Whether you're at work or otherwise, this collection gives you a comfortable and relaxed fit to fully unwind this fall. You'll catch me wearing at least one Into the AM item pretty much every single day, and that's not even because I'm sponsored by them, I just legitimately love their clothes. So, if you're interested in working hard and wearing easy, I really can't recommend Into the AM enough. They absolutely have at least one item that fits your vibe, and they're all relatively affordable, especially if you use my discount code WALT at checkout or go to intotheam.com/WALT to get an additional 10% off. And as always, when I give my sponsor spiel, using that link affords me a small commission and also kind of allows me to keep getting these sponsorships, which lets me keep making these stupid videos, so yeah, circle of life kind of thing, but it would help me out a ton if you checked it out. Guys, you don't want to miss out on the fall collection, and thank you again to Into the AM for supporting my channel. Alright, that's it, back to the video.
Hello, my name is Junebug. I've been playing Smash competitively for 16 years. I started with Brawl, and then I played Project M, and now I'm mainly playing Melee. And I play Donkey Kong.
Okay, look. You guys already know the deal by now. The first official Melee tier list in 2002 had Donkey Kong at bad out of 26 on the roster, but Junebug, who was formerly the best Project M player in the world in 2015, started playing the character about a year ago, and he just got ranked as the 27th best player in the world on the Summer 2024 Top 50 ranking. And Junebug wasn't the only one making waves with Donkey Kong either. 2 other DK players named, that, and Akir also made it into the top 50 at ranks 29 and 37. And for anyone who might not be super in the know about Melee, to give you a little context on how insane that actually is, DK has more top 50 representatives this year than Yoshi, Pikachu, and Ice Climbers, who are all characters with significantly better placements than Donkey Kong, and it's had the same number of reps as Captain Falcon and Jigglypuff, who are 2 super popular characters in competitive Melee. To go back in time a little bit further, the beginning of an online ranked mode in Melee in December 2022 was possibly the beginning of this Donkey Kong surge. In fact, shortly after online ranked was released, 3 different players made it into the top 50 with the ape, and this was, mind you, a year before Junebug even started playing Donkey Kong as his main. In 2022, June was playing the mid-tier Dr. Mario. What? Yeah, okay, he was playing Dr. Mario as basically a Melee thought experiment for his YouTube channel, and even with this character, he still got a top 16 placement at a major event, which just shows that he's insane at the game. And then he disqualified himself from the tournament so he can go see a magic show, which is rad. So yeah, I don't have anything else other than that. That just rules. Anyway, if you haven't watched the other 2 DK videos I've made over the past couple months, I would love it if you check those out first so you could get a bit more on the history of this character in competitive Melee, but if you already did, then let's just get right into the main action. So the Eggdog Invitational was a major tournament hosted by Eggdog Esports, which is an esports team made by the YouTuber Zamsire, and he made this, and this. But yeah, it went down over Labor Day weekend in Vancouver, Canada, and it featured a challenge match format where the top 4 placers from a separate open tournament were able to choose one of the bottom 4 group stage placers at the Invitational to play in a match. If the open bracket qualifier beat the invitational player, they would take over that invitational slot. So, Junebug was able to earn a spot in the challenge matches by placing 4th at the Gallant Melee Open, but how he got that placement was kind of due to a charity stock granted by Zio, which, yeah, that's rough, buddy. But anyway, a win's a win, so June was able to fight in the challenge match against Zamu, who he beat 3-0 to make it into the invitational. From there, the final bracket was a pretty standard 16-player double elimination bracket, but since all 16 players started in the winner's bracket here, the top seeds were able to select their first round opponents.
I think Triff's gonna pick Nikki because he's a prick.
Hey, this is a bit of an abrupt interruption, but if you're enjoying the video, I would really appreciate it if you checked if you were subscribed. This video was a beast to write and edit, which was why I had to wait so long after the tournament to, you know, finish it, since time is a thing. But if you've been enjoying my stuff, which I hope you have, it would mean a lot to me if you subscribed. You don't have to do it right now either, but once I've earned your trust that my videos are going to be worth it, I hope you'll at least consider subscribing. Okay, that's it. Let's go back to the video.
Mango's actually talking to me after, because nobody wants to pick the DK and then lose.
So this may be obvious, but when top seeds get to pick their first round opponents, you may end up seeing pretty skewed projected bracket paths, since these players get to pick their strongest possible matchup of the pool of available players. Wizrobe had already selected Nikki, the German Ice Climbers player, the round earlier, which was likely going to be Triff's highest priority pick, but that left him, the best player from Spain and newly ranked in the top 10, to decide between Junebug and Moki. Junebug did beat Polish 3-1 at an M series at the start of 2023, and he got a 3-0 over Sumiris, the number 48 ranked player for 2023 at the Big House 11, as well as a more recent 3-1 over Swaggerby at Tipped Off 15, so he does have a little bit of experience with this matchup. But with Triff becoming newly ranked in the top 10 as of this summer, he was certainly a player to be wary of. Also, just as a bit of a fun fact, but these two had actually played against each other back in 2018 at a Long Island tournament called Omega 2, where Triff narrowly won out against Junebug's original main, Sheik, 3-2. We had the Peach professional Aura on the couch with us to provide some expertise on Peach's perspective in this matchup, which was really nice. Triff and Aura both think Peach wins, but it's not super bad for DK, and a few big things we noticed for both sides of the matchup were: 1. Cargo up throw up air is not true on Peach, but there is a mix-up. Peach can DI the up throw in front and get out an air dodge, so what you may see DKs do now is this almost silly dash dance while holding the Peach to make it ambiguous as to which way they'll be facing when they go for the throw, which kind of makes it a 50-50. Also a note regarding this, but even if Triff can get the air dodge, which is a bit of a tight timing window, DK would often have a pretty decent position to get a follow-up hit or shark from underneath, so it's not totally without a punish from DK's side. 2. Turn-ups, specifically Triff's turn-ups, are very difficult for DK to deal with. June mentioned that he was going to try to incorporate some item catch to Z-drop mix-ups in as a way to try to deal with the projectile barrage. And 3, June was trying to distill his neutral down to bear when Peach is in the air and overshoot grab when Peach is grounded. One of the problems I see in this matchup versus a weird one like DK Pikachu that we saw at Supernova is that the character weights make some of these punishes a bit more tricky for Donkey Kong. Versus Pikachu, June was able to basically grab once and get Pika to around 60, and then grab again and get a KO. Versus Peach, this is a little less straightforward, as you're usually only getting maybe a couple up airs, and you usually have to play a bit more neutral to be able to even get those grabs in the first place. Even Giant Punch, which is like this absurdly strong move, feels a bit less potent as an equalizing tool, since, like I said in a previous video, DK loses his charge if he gets hit out of his up B, and Peach and her turnips are so good at clipping DK out of the sky. So for this matchup, I personally don't mind June just spending it off like ledge jump or in random neutral situations, because it's not all too likely he'll get to hang on to the punch for that long in the first place. Anyway, here's a cool stat. Triff pulled a lot of good items in this set. 2 Saturns, a beam sword, 4 Stitches in game 5 alone. That is just the kind of roulette you're forced to play though when you're a character that struggles so hard to A, get in on Peach pulling turnips, and B, play around the turnips when Peach has one in hand. So yeah, it's annoying, but of course Triff will have a lot of opportunities to roll the dice here. What makes this matchup so difficult though is that the comeback potential for Donkey Kong is actually not really amazing at all. So whoever gets to take the first stock can dictate a lot of the pace of the game. You can see this in game 3 of the set, in particular how challenging it is for DK to get in when playing from behind, because he can't just get in quick enough against the turnip wall, especially without platforms, and the grab punishes become fewer and farther in between. So with that in mind, I really like this cargo throw stock trade June goes for in game 4. June's at 126 in the corner when he finds this grab, and Triff is practically at 0, so it's such a huge sigh of relief to get to basically reset the game at 2 stocks apiece when you were so far behind in percent. Triff kinda got caught not pre-mashing here, and the fast fall from Junebug means Peach just doesn't have enough verticality to make it back to the ledge. Even from a resource perspective, Triff is stalling a little bit, so he gets a slight advantage off of respawn invincibility, but June also gets to full charge his punch in exchange. The punch charge unfortunately doesn't matter all too much though, since he just loses it a few seconds later, but the stock he gets right after that was amazing and really swung the momentum back in June's favor. Triff starts playing a little bit forward now, advancing into a handful of DK bears. June waits for an air dodge under the left platform and is able to scoop it with an up air, which at 61% puts Peach into a quite long 51 frames of hit stun, which kind of allows June to link a second up air, and then with positioning on the top platform finds him a third that nets the KO. Considering the previous stock though, where June is down over 100% and likely dies sooner or later, the momentum shift to get almost a full stock lead after getting that cargo throw stock trade is really good, and it's enough to get him into a game 5 after he gets a very similar 3-piece up air to go. For the final game we went to Dreamland, which Aura mentioned isn't too bad for DK since he's so heavy and can live forever, and we see that in the first stock alone. Triff lived to 162%, and then June mounted an enormous 1% advantage before he was KO'd at 181 off of the first Stitch face of many in this game. The trade-off when you give space though is that while Peach gets to pull more turn-ups, DK gets more opportunities to charge that punch, which means we're more likely to see it just get ripped in some of these neutral interactions. Nowhere was this more obvious than when June literally did that. Right after that long first stock, he's able to find a couple full winds because Triff is giving space picking up turnups, and after floating towards the corner, June can actually just let it rip with pretty much no risk. Triff is still landing from float, so there's no opportunity for him to land and block, and he's also facing to the left, so he can't escape to the ledge even if he had the time to. And at 72%, a full charge punch is a very easy kill on Peach. In fact, even at this positioning with no DI, it would kill Peach as early as 56%, which is just insane on Dreamland. After the punch KO, June gets really lucky by clipping Triff with his recovering up B, and then Triff bonks his head on the bottom of Dreamland and dies at 10%. Which, given how long some of these stocks have gone on for, that's obviously a stupidly early percent to lose a stock. Triff does claw his way back to make it into a last stock situation, and after a short bit of grindy neutral, June finds a back air, clips the jump with a second back air, and one final stomp puts Triff down into the loser's bracket after an insane first round of play.
How does June get in? How
Triff cannot catch these turnips right now.
Just playing so far away,
to the patient,
trying for a back air so hard, and Triff is not letting him have it.
Oh no, he has nothing.
No jump, that's it.
Oh my god, it's over! It's over, Junebug takes it!
Return to monkeys! We've done it!
So because Junebug beat Triff, which theoretically is an upset because everyone got to pick their round 1 opponents, he next had to fight Mango, which went 3-1 in Mango's favor, but the first win meant he would fall to the other side of loser's bracket, now fighting the Marth Kadoran instead of what would have been another Peach in Aura. This matchup, in my opinion, seems like one of Donkey Kong's better ones, but to be fair, I would argue Marth is a pretty solid matchup for a lot of mid to low tiers. Link, don't look at Wavelength, whatever, but Link, yeah. But yeah, for the sake of not making this video be an hour long, I'm gonna keep this one moving a little bit. June told me that his strengths, especially just how well he plays neutral, tend to play better versus Marth than Fox because he can slow the neutral down a lot more in this matchup. DK can actually play the range battle pretty well against Marth, and his punish is sometimes significantly stronger because Marth can have a difficult time getting honest kills against a character this heavy unless they're off the bottom. We saw multiple stocks over the span of this set get June into a 160+% range, and Kadoran not finding those KOs earlier sealed the deal for him, with Junebug advancing in losers 3-1. From there, June would face off against the best player in Canada and the number 7 best player in the world, Moki, of Fox main, as well as June's second top 10 matchup. These two had never played in a tournament setting before, so it was a little bit tough to say how things would go, but if we wanted to speculate, at Supernova, Cody Schwab beat June's DK pretty bad, but in contrast, June was able to get a 3-0 over the best player in Australia and global rank 11, Josh Man. And even on Moki's side, he was upset there by Quang, the next highest ranked DK player.
I think Moki is definitely doable, but I think also Quang has been Quang messaged me that people, after they lose to Donkey Kong in any or brutal a fashion, they get an immunization shot, and the more times they lose to Donkey Kong, the more immunization shots they get. and the foxes get harder.
But with all that being said, the first stock honestly looked like it was going to go all Moki with a very precise 0 to death, but let's talk about some of the good stuff June was doing here to combat this tempo. We'll start with the game 3 win, since the first went over to Moki, and the second, while Moki did bring it back to final stock, was DK's strongest counter pick in Final Destination. In game 1, Waff and Toph were talking about changing your initiating tools from drill shine to nair shine because DK can sometimes just like fall out of the drill and be able to get a counter punish going, and we see that happen exactly in this stock. Moki gets a really solid string for about 100%, but drops the edgeguard trying to shine over the top of DK's up B. After a bit of a scramble, we see Moki go for that drill on a roll in from Junebug, but DK falls out of it and is able to get up a block on the following shine, which ultimately nets him a shield grab. And he takes this all the way to a completed stock. After a bear, charged giant punch, and traded up air, Moki's already at 54% on his third stock when June should have lost his much earlier, and that's enough momentum to carry the ape to a game 3 win. Now, Waff does say this at the start of the set, and it may come off a little controversial, but there is some truth to it. DK's combos are not that hard to execute for a trained melee player, but the way in which June follows DI, tech chases, and more specifically how he plays neutral in order to get those punishes in the first place are just top notch. The fact that June can find a full reversal off of what isn't even really an execution error on Moki, again who is a top 10 player and one of the most technical foxes in the world, is already really impressive. But the ways he's able to find those reversals, initiations, and neutral wins on a character notoriously bad at neutral are what take that to a new level. A prop given to Moki in game 4 was in how well he was handling wall tech situations as an edgeguard counterplay, especially when June is at low percent. After June got a really clean first stock, he almost got a second one thanks to the very last hit of DK's up B, but DK was just a bit too slow to steal the ledge. However, just a few seconds later after June respawns, he clips Moki ledge refreshing without invincibility and gets the fox below ledge. There is almost zero situation here where DK wouldn't just want to do a drop down into up B to contest the recovery, and he goes for it here. But because the spacing is a bit tricky and there's a wall along the entire stage, Moki can get hit into it and get a wall tech shine, which just straight up kills June. June gets a true conversion in cargo up throw up smash at 114 before hit to bring Moki to last stock, and Moki brings June to last stock shortly thereafter. But this is where things honestly get super wild. Moki opens with approaching up airs, which Cody had shown in their Supernova set as a cool initiating tool, and plays the first 70% or so of this stock pretty much perfectly. He gets an up smash in the corner at 83% before the hit, which actually could have killed off the side if June was asleep at the wheel and DI'd it incorrectly. Actually, I'm gonna go on a nerd tangent here because I find this really cool, so feel free to skip this segment if you want. I'll put a timestamp, I guess, if you really don't want to know the frame data here, but here we go. If June didn't DI this at all or hit hard DI to the left or right, he would actually lose here as well, but only if Moki had charged the up smash for at least 13 frames. But what is really stupid about this is that DK, as well as other characters in the cast, actually have different frame data for their get-up attacks, depending on whether they're knocked down on their back or their stomach. Because Junebug was knocked down facing towards the stage and on his stomach, this get-up attack will hit first in front or towards Moki on frames 19 to 20, and then hit behind on frames 24 to 25, and it's invincible through both of those hits. If June were to have landed on his back and gone for the same get-up attack, it would be invincible for 6 fewer frames, only 19 instead of 25, and it would hit behind first on frames 6 to 7, then in front after on frames 18 to 19. Now, Fox can pretty much always charge up smash a get-up attack, and he certainly had at least a little bit of time here considering Moki went for a shine up smash. There may be some perfect math that lets Moki get a dash charge up smash for the 13 frames he needed to get a KO alongside the necessary DI from Junebug, which, for what it's worth, in this situation, June did a slight DI to the left since he goes just straight up here, but I thought that was pretty cool that the situation could have been a little bit different and the setup does kind of change based on if DK landed on his back instead. Anyway, June survives that hit, then a following up air, and makes it out of a down throw reaction mix-up. Moki tries to fake out crashing onto June's shield with a short hop into double jump right above him, but June can just react to that with up B out of shield. Moki's now pushed off stage and at a bit of a weird distance where his illusion won't sweet spot to the ledge, and the slants on Yoshi's story also help out June a bit here to net him a down tilt. And from there, and with no resources left, June can win his second set over a top 10 player with some fireworks.
June posturing for a back air.
Oh, okay. He's fishing for this grab.
Bear grab.
Okay.
Oh, good CC there on the last of the up B.
Yeah. Man, June hasn't been doing too much get-up attack. That was the perfect time to do it.
Up smash. Oh.
Yeah,
Nice.
Okay.
Still living though.
Actually, if the shine had hit, that would have KO'd with the up smash probably.
Oh, wait a minute.
Uh-oh.
Wait a minute.
No!
Okay.
I like going for drill grab.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
gotta go out there.
Oh my God! June really goes for that?
The recognition to immediately
was
run up
crazy.
with the down air. And like,
Just fucking.
it was
What a hit
crazy because like,
confirmed.
Randall was there. There were a lot of like, you know.
I thought he could have teched off the wall, but
Oh
maybe
my
I'm.
God. Nah, he was too low to the blast zone.
Hey man.
June is so clutch.
Oh
Off
my
of one
God.
opening like that with the up B, he smelled blood in the water and then just took it to the bank.
Incredibly clutch.
Hey, sometimes you just gotta pull the trigger, man.
While June was ultimately eliminated after this set by Amsa at 5th place, the fact that he was even able to make a run like this over 2 top 10 players, especially after almost not even qualifying in the first place, is truly insane, and it deserves a lot of praise. In fact, one of Melee's first Donkey Kong mains, Captain Jack, has been giving plenty of it. There's been talks about this former PM legend potentially becoming top 10 in the world soon in Melee, and with Donkey Kong of all characters, and he's honestly starting to make a good case for himself with these placements. Junebug beat 2 top 10 players at this invitation, one of which selected him as his opponent. Of the remaining top 10, his DK has gotten to play twice against Mango and Amsa, and once against Cody, Jmook, Hungrybox, and Sunsei. He hasn't had a shot at Wizrobe yet, and perhaps more importantly, Zane, who has kind of been struggling against some weird characters as of late. We're not going to look at the Wavelength set, we're going to look at all the other ones instead. But if I'm going to be honest, I was watching them play friendlies at this very tournament, and June was putting in work against Zane. If June's set versus Kadoran was any indication, I think we're going to be in for at least a little bit of a treat if and when he's able to play against the current #1 player in the world. That's all hypothetical though. But you know what's not? It might have taken 20 years, but Donkey Kong has finally broken into the meta of Super Smash Bros. Melee. And apparently now, more than ever, players are gonna have to study up on this ape if they want to crack at being the best player in the world. This channel is funded by my Patreon, and if you want to be a producer of the channel and help me be able to do this even more often, you can join over at the link in the description. All $5 patrons will have their names rolling in the credits that you're seeing on the screen right now, and I want to give a big thanks to all of my patrons who help make videos like these possible, especially Avishua Stein, Bobby Wasabi, Bold Italics, Eric is Cool, and NNG Esports. Thanks for watching, and thank you for supporting me on all my recent videos. It's honestly made me really happy, and I've been super motivated to continue making more for you guys. Please like and subscribe if you liked what you saw, and as always, there's a lot more on the way. See you next time. Oh, fuck. Oh, no. That was not supposed to happen.